Mike, I'm gonna need you to start this one off because I left the page to find the photo of the Genki thing earlier. Never mind, I got it. I got it right here. Story number 2. Battlefield 6 is seemingly just called Battlefield 6, according to leaked packages sent to content creators that might signal a reveal from EA soon. This comes from Khan Sirin at Games Radar. Who would have guessed Battlefield 6 is titled, wait for it, Battlefield 6, according to leaked promo packages seemingly sent to some content creators. And with all the rumblings and leaks and rumors in the air, an official reveal from EA shouldn't be too far behind. Content creator Doom49 posted and then quickly deleted a giant crate that publisher EA allegedly sent them. The silver package was wrapped up tight and had the name Battlefield 6 clearly printed on it. And if the post is to be believed, it would be the first time EA's officially confirmed the title of its new FPS. The whole hullabaloo led to speculation that EA is planning a big blowout for the new shooter sometime soon.
Oh, snap.
If I was to look around the kind of funny offices and go, who is the Battlefield guy?
Yeah.
It's you with the Gex shirt right here.
You and I, big dog.
Mhm.
I love
No, not me. I'm not the Battlefield guy.
And I like the idea of going to Battlefield 6. I think all the hardcore fans and even kind of newer fans hold on tight to Battlefield 4, right? That's kind of the GOAT of the series. Everyone remembers that. I think people enjoy 3, and of course, we move on to 5 and 1, and you kind of remember those. But I think 4 is really where it always is, and people remember that. I think you go back to 6. Remember, we went Battlefield 2049, and, I am surprised that we're already there, right? I'm not surprised, but I am surprised, right? At the same time, EA pulled back a lot of teams, said, hey, we're focusing on the flagship titles. We're really going to double down on Battlefield. We're bringing like 7 different studios to this. They also had an earnings call that said this game would release by the end
2042,
thank you. The end of the fiscal year, which is like spring next year. So we have a pretty close window here of this game supposedly coming out. But when it comes to the title Battlefield 6, the idea that we're around the corner from another Battlefield, that is all very exciting to me. I hope that it's very similar to modern day, maybe a little futuristic tech.
You'll need some drones.
I want it to be pretty close to where we're at now. I pretty much want Battlefield 4. If I had it my way, we would get as close as we could to Battlefield 4.
Do we got to play 7 through 2041 to understand the full story?
You have to play Battlefield Hardline.
Oh, God. The thing I was going to mention to you, Mike, I know that you said kind of surprised that we're already here.
Yeah.
But it's wild to look back and, Battlefield 2042 came out in November 2021. We're coming up on 4 years after 2021 released. You and I were there for the preview with Bruce Green. Waiting to play it during the pandemic. Things did not work.
Didn't go well.
Did not go well. Servers kept crashing and things like that. But it has been a long time since the last Battlefield entry, and we know that this is the one, Mike, that EA wants 100 million, 100 quadrillion billion people playing this game.
It'll be really interesting to see the approach, right? They're going back to a campaign. They've talked about having all these teams on it. What is that catch, though, right? We saw them with Battlefield 1 or 5. One of those had the Ring of Fire Battle Royale. Then in Battlefield 2042, they tried to make their own mini extraction shooter / Battle Royale, similar to Call of Duty's entry into, what was that one called? Not Plunder, the other DMZ.
DMZ.
Yeah, and so we saw them. So really my mind goes to, well, there's the core package. There's Battlefield proper. We'll call that the campaign, multiplayer. That's going to be the core package. Is there something else? Is there a third game mode that is the, hey, we're trying to compete with the Fortnites, the Escape from Tarkovs of the world that we see Call of Duty dip into with Warzone, DMZ, of course. We see other games try to say, hey, we want to be in the mix to try to pull you away from that. And when you ask for 100 million players, right, or whatever they want to do, how do you dip into those other game franchises and say, hey, come over here and play that, right? Besides just having the core first-person shooter content that we normally expect with a campaign and multiplayer. They didn't have a campaign last one, remember that. So it's kind of a big deal.
I don't know if I've ever even played a Battlefield. No, I guess like Battlefield. I remember playing Battlefield 1, the World War I one.
Yeah.
Did you play the Bad Company ones?
No.
Oh, you're missing out.
I think that was during an era where I just wasn't gaming a whole lot. Because was that 360?
Yeah, that was like 360.
Yeah, I looking back at my gaming time, I had money for like 2 games, and it was Red Dead 1. No, 3 games. Red Dead 1, Red Dead Redemption 1, not Revolver. NBA 2K10 or whatever, and
Yeah.
then Mass Effect 2.
Got some stiff competition. You know, you have games like Delta Force that are out there that are trying to capture that like large scale PvP audience that Battlefield is kind of known for, that Battlefield hasn't had in the past, 4 years since 2021 when it came out, right? And then you have Call of Duty, which is that traditional, hey, we're in the smaller maps, the 5v5s, the 10v10s. This is what Call of Duty's bread and butter is. Battlefield is known for only in Battlefield moments, those wow factor moments that you'll see in no other video game because they just know how to do it the best. And they have the sandbox and the playground to be able to do that. There's all the tools, all the wild gadgets for you to do wild and cool stuff. It just comes down to a lot of like, well, the servers have to work and the game has to run properly. And there has to be some sort of hook besides just 2008 to 2012 Battlefield. We're very far past that now in today's day and age.
What do you think they have to do to try to bring there's a speculation station part of me, Mike.
Okay.
This is like, thank you very. This is a very, very negative speculatory area I'm jumping into. But when we hear about, the investor call, the 100 million players expected, to me, the person who's like very, very negative and pessimistic about the industry right now, just because of how everything is, right? I go, the people saying that they are expecting 100 million are setting this up to fail purposely because no Battlefield's ever gotten close, or you know what I mean? Like there's no chance that anything like that will ever happen, and they are just prepping for an IP sell-off or more layoffs. Like I don't understand how that number can even get thrown out there in a serious way. I just don't know. We've seen countless games fail, Mike. We've seen countless titles try to dip into that bag, and I don't even know. Obviously, Warzone is still very, very popular, but I just don't even feel like that's where everybody is right now. Am I wrong on that?
I think you have every right to, worry and speculate that. I think that 100 million number is crazy. I don't know who threw that out there and why they would say that, but that's a big uphill battle to have. There is room in here, Andy. There's I'll try to be the optimistic one and the positive one here.
Please do.
Because I do agree with you. I do have a lot of questions and concerns about this reality, Mike, or real Mike, but I'll be the positive one here. I think there's room. I think there's an opportunity. I think you see Call of Duty right now is hitting player fatigue in Warzone in particular as well. There's a mass audience that just doesn't want to jump onto Call of Duty, no matter how different and innovative the campaign can be, no matter how good the Call of Duty multiplayer suite is every single year. There's an audience out there that is yearning for something that isn't the Fortnites, that isn't Call of Duty, and maybe Battlefield can come in and fill that void, right?
This episode's brought to you by Mood. Let me tell you about the online cannabis company that's revolutionizing how we deal with life's challenges. From sleepless nights to stress-filled days, Mood.com has created an entire line of functional gummies that target specific health concerns with 100% federally legal THC blends. They'll deliver them discreetly right to your doorstep, and you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code KINDAFUNNY. I've been having a great time trying out their different gummies and am loving how each one feels. And each one is crafted using federally legal cannabis grown on small, family-owned American farms. No pesticides, no BS, and they can ship to most states in the US. Best of all, not only does Mood stand behind everything with an industry-leading 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code KINDAFUNNY. So head to Mood.com, browse their amazing selection of functional gummies, and find the perfect gummy for whatever you are dealing with. And remember to use promo code KINDAFUNNY at checkout to save 20% on your first order. That's Mood.com, MOOD.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY. This episode's brought to you by Factor. Summer is here, baby. That means more sun, more light, but it should not mean more hours inside cooking. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Multiple people here at Kinda Funny have been loving their experience with Factor, and you can too. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day, sun up to sundown. With nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts, Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. Get started at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off and use code kindafunny50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code kindafunny50 off at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off for 50% off plus free shipping.
Battlefield has so much going for it, from Levolution and destructible environments, large-scale PvP with 64 on 64 that you see nowhere else. They have an opportunity to tell a really cool story with a campaign once again, right? And we saw how powerful a campaign can be with the last Call of Duty. As much as people will say, oh, I'm not here for the campaign, or hey, I maybe play an hour and I fall off. There is something there of like, if you can have a really good 6 to 12 hour campaign that tells a good story, that's really fun, and maybe, you know, plays a little bit on your gameplay modes and gets a little innovative, can go a long way there. I think the bread and butter, though, what you need is, what is that carrot on the stick? What's the hook? Because it is not the traditional multiplayer 64 versus 64. It is not the campaign. It has to be something else. And in the day and age where we see Fortnite continue to dominate, we also look over and we see Escape from Tarkov and people chasing that extraction shooter DMZ-like mode. I think you do have to dive into that bag and say, hey, how do we do this? And if I was Battlefield, I'd probably lean towards more of a battle royale. I would keep it traditional. I would go with a large-scale map with full destructible environments, and I would put you in groups of 4, and I'd say, here's 300 people, or whatever crazy number you can throw out there, and say, this is going to be the battle royale that changes battle royales. Now, a lot of people will roll their eyes at that because it's been said before. It is kind of a slow it down on the decline of, hey, I've done this, I'm kind of bored now. But I think there is room there right now to strike while the iron's hot. If you're a true military sim, put out a battle royale that is unlike Warzone and try to get that audience that is like, I'm bored of this, I want to get off of it.
Yeah, part of me thinks that, you know, if you're a hardcore Battlefield fan, you are going to be playing regardless, and you are expecting the large scale, control these 5 zones, go to point A, go to point E, C is now open, whatever. And I just don't know if something like that can really explode in a way that would take people away from the other sort of either like battle royale modes. You know, I just don't know if that's where people want to be necessarily. Remember BattleBit Remastered?
Yes, of course. That was a Battlefield like, but with cool voxel text on that, right? Is what they call that.
Super low poly. Yeah, lots of Levolution there, and that was hot for about 2 weeks. You know, I'm looking back at, again, SteamDB, never the end-all be-all, right? But Call of Duty right now with 55,000 concurrent players. Only on Steam. Again, this is not console. We know a lot of console players love playing on Call of Duty. And I scroll up and goddamn, PUBG Battlegrounds still number 3 with 296,000.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so wild that PUBG is still killing it. That should be the story. We should talk about PUBG.
Let's go to real Mike now, Andy. I've talked about this with
no more optimism, Mike.
Yeah, let's get down to real Mike. If this was my call, this would have been a Star Wars Battlefront. We would not be doing Battlefield right now. We would have kept Battlefield on ice for another 5 years. We would have tried to capitalize on the Star Wars market. Of course, every May, we see a giant player influx celebrating May the 4th be with you and the Star Wars craze. But there is something to be said of like, the players got bored of Battlefield. It didn't quite run right. But you know what they didn't get bored of? Star Wars. Star Wars is an IP you can go back to and really double down. I think Star Wars should have been the move here. Probably in my mind, if this does fail, we go to Star Wars and we get a Battlefront eventually. You work and you try to get that, you know, team up again with Disney proper and all that jazz. But this would have been a Battlefront if this was my move.
Now, I do see some other sentiment on the internet. Seeing Stan and Roger from American Dad being playable in Call of Duty, which I'm all about. I love him. I love me some American Dad. But I have seen the sentiment go, man, I can't wait for Battlefield. You know, like I'm just so tired of Call of Duty running around seeing, here's Cheech and Chong and here's
Yeah.
The Fortnite-ification of Call of Duty.
yes,
Yeah.
the Fortniteification of the industry, really. Like everything needing to have a collab, every brand needing to be inserted everywhere. If I'm going optimistic, Andy, if I'm going on the
Yeah.
flip side and going like, Andy, let's be a little positive here. I would say maybe the industry is ready for a big change like this to say, all right, let's go back to formula. Enough.
Interesting.
We've seen everything, Now, I only say that with the caveat that maybe a battle royale is included because I just
Yeah.
don't know if this Battlefield core game mode. And again, I'm a head clicker. I
Yeah.
love shooting.
Of course.
I love being on a keyboard mouse game. I don't love Battlefield, but if you said, Andy, we're gonna do a Battlefield 6 stream, I'd be there because I love just keyboard mouse shooting. However, I just really, really don't fuck with the Battlefield formula. And maybe that can turn around for a lot of people. Maybe some people just haven't even been exposed to that life yet, who maybe started gaming 2 years ago when Battlefield 2042 was out and haven't really had a chance to find the genre or find love for the genre. So
If I was a betting man, Andy, there will be a third game mode, a battle royale or an extraction shooter, right? It has to have that. It can't just be the true Battlefield multiplayer experience in a campaign. There's going to be a third caveat to this that's going to be big. I will push back on the Fortniteification of Call of Duty because I, of course, am one of those kids that love the marijuana tags and the emblem in Call of Duty. I like when Call of Duty kind of gets like real life fourth wall in it, right? And so I've enjoyed that because if you remember, one of the greatest Call of Duty commercials of all time was back in the day when they had every celebrity playing the commercial with them, and it was like everybody's playing Call of Duty, and you're like, oh shit. And I've loved
how many
them.
of those celebrities have been canceled by now? Do we
I'm
wonder?
sure if we could find that commercial, Andy, we would have a really good
At
time.
least like a 30 to 40% clip, I would assume.
But like I am the person who's like, oh wow, that's Nicki Minaj running around right now. That is Cheech and Chong. I enjoy
Travis
that.
Scott up there.
My worry is like if we're gonna get into business and microtransactions and how do you push that, right? I think generic Soldier 42, 45, 47, 48 that look like you're just a military guy that's maybe dressed in all black now, or he's got the desert camo on or the snow camo, just doesn't sell well and it kind of gets boring after
Possibly.
a while on year 5, right? And so I don't know. I don't think Battlefield will be going that route anytime soon. I don't think they'll team up with Travis Scott or Kendrick Lamar, right? But like, I don't think you can have one now without kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit, right? I'm sure if Battlefield 6 survives, let's say for 4 years, we will see one odd tie-in where you're like, Mike, that wasn't true super military sim. They pushed the boundaries with something like 50 Cent is all of a sudden in it, right? And you're
Right.
like, okay, what's up with this, right? They will have one push to see if it works, right? Because Battlefield is probably the last true super military sim. Call of Duty's already stepped out of the box, so they'll try though. They have
Are
to.
they going to do some tie-in with Mountain Dew, some sort of like sponsorship like that, where you see in-game beverages and things of that nature?